Discover the heartwarming moment when a little boy's cry for help leads to an incredible, life-changing community awakening. On a bright afternoon in Maplewood, 10-year-old Ethan ran barefoot through the soft grass, laughter tumbling from his lips like sunshine. His heart was light, not a care in the world as he and his friends played near Mr. Thompson's old, red barn. The air filled with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers, and life felt perfect. But in an instant, that joy shattered like glass. Ethan spotted Mr. Thompson, the beloved veteran of their town, stumbling against the fence. His face twisted in pain, he clutched his chest and collapsed. Panic rushed through Ethan like a lightning bolt. "Mr. Thompson!" he shouted, but odd silence filled the air. He turned on his heels, adrenaline surging. "Help! Somebody help!" he cried, sprinting down the street, his heart pounding with urgency. Neighbors poured out of their homes, some with worry etched into their faces, others still clutching their grocery bags. The tight-knit community was coming together, but as Ethan watched, he could also feel the dividing lines of wealth begin to surface. The families whose lawns were perfectly manicured whispered amongst themselves, unsure of how much to offer. His mom, Maria, worked herself to the bone, and in that moment, she looked so small and almost defeated among those who had plenty. With Mr. Thompson's condition worsening, tension crackled along the sidewalk. It felt heavy, a palpable reminder of their differences. As conversations about organizing a fundraiser started, Ethan felt a tight knot in his stomach. Could he do something? He wanted to help. But could his small contributions make any difference in the face of much bigger disagreements? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Ethan felt like all eyes were on him. The whispers turned into shouts, disagreements flared up over how much should be given. Just when he thought things would fall apart, a story of Mr. Thompson's past erupted into the air during a town hall meeting. They learned of his life as a young soldier, fighting against the odds and enduring hard times, much like his own family did. A sudden flame of courage lit up inside Ethan. As he stepped forward in front of his friends and neighbors, determination filled his voice. "What matters isn't the money," he proclaimed bravely. "It's who we are and how we stand for each other in times like these." Hope fluttered across the crowd, igniting old friendships and shattering old prejudices. But just as unity seemed within reach, a heated argument broke out between two families. Tension crackled, leaving Ethan standing at the precipice of a decision. Would he have the strength to mend the rift? As the world looked on, the warmth of community spirit hung in the air, ready to either flourish or fade away. Ethan's heart raced. What would happen next? Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of expectation and fear pressing down on him. He glanced at Mr. Thompson lying on the ground, still struggling for breath, his face pale against the vibrant green grass. That vision strengthened Ethan's resolve. He knew he couldn't let the squabbles ruin everything they had built as a community. "Stop!" Ethan shouted, his voice shaking but firm. He stepped forward into the space between the arguing families, feeling everyone's eyes on him. The silence that followed was heavy. "Mr. Thompson needs our help, and he wouldn't want us to fight like this. He always told me that community means being there for each other, no matter our differences." A hush fell over the crowd. Neighbors exchanged glances, their faces softening as they realized the truth in Ethan's words. The arguing voices began to fade, replaced by murmurs of reflection and empathy. One neighbor, Mrs. Carter, stepped up first. "Ethan's right. We've become so focused on our disagreements that we forgot the most important thing: our humanity." Her voice wavered, and a few people nodded in agreement. Ethan felt a spark of hope as he watched more heads nod and more hands reach out in solidarity. Mr. Thompson had been the one to teach many of them about compassion, about facing adversities together. It was time to put those lessons into action. "Let us set aside our differences and figure out how we can help him," Ethan suggested, desperation coloring his words. "A fundraiser? We can do bake sales, yard work, anything. If we all pitch in, we can gather enough to cover his medical bills." Another voice rang out, this time from Mr. Thompson's daughter, Lisa, tears brimming in her eyes. "He always wants to help others. He gives so much to this town, he deserves us to come together now," she said, her heartbreak resonating with everyone present. The mood shifted. Neighbors pulled together, eager to brainstorm ideas. Suddenly, it was no longer about what made them different. Instead, they started to remember the many moments shared during town picnics, volunteer days, and school events. Laughs echoed, and cooperation blossomed as people began shouting ideas in a flurry of excitement. Ethan's heart swelled. This was the moment he had hoped for, the awakening of a community ready to stand united. He felt the knot in his stomach loosen as he contributed more ideas, his voice growing in strength. But just when it seemed a real wave of unity was taking root, a familiar face emerged from the crowd, anger etched across her features. It was Beverly, the head of one of the wealthier families in Maplewood. "You think a bake sale is going to fix this?" she scoffed, arms crossed defiantly. Ethan's heart dropped. He had thought they were pulling together, but here was a voice of division ready to poison their progress. As Beverly opened her mouth to speak again, the once soaring spirit began to dip. Ethan felt the warmth wane, uncertainty creeping in again. Looking around, he saw the resolve in his neighbors' faces falter. Could it all come crashing down so quickly? He knew he had to say something. Could he be brave enough to face the confrontation head-on? The question hung in the air: would he find the courage to rally his community against the storm? As those around him shifted nervously, Ethan steeled himself. What would he say next? Ethan took a quick breath, feeling a burst of adrenaline surge through him. He couldn't let Beverly's skepticism set the tone. "Yes, Beverly, a bake sale can't fix everything," he said, raising his chin a little. "But it's a start. And it shows Mr. Thompson that we care, that we're here for him. Wouldn't you want to feel that support if it were your family member?" The crowd shifted, their expressions reflecting a mix of doubt and curiosity. Ethan could see a flicker of realization on some faces. They too knew how much Mr. Thompson had given, how fiercely he fought for their little town. "Maybe we could all chip in some items for the bake sale. Everyone loves homemade treats," Mrs. Carter suggested, her voice gaining strength as she stepped forward. "I can bake my famous apple pie." Beverly's expression hardened, but she wasn't enough to drown out the tide of positivity. Ethan could see sparks igniting among the neighbors. One by one, they started suggesting contributions: cookies, brownies, lemonade that would fill the tables for the fundraiser. As the ideas flowed, Lisa wiped her tears and spoke up again, her voice steady. "My dad always says that support comes from the heart. Let us host an event where people realize how much he means to us. Maybe a talent show." Her surprise idea lit a new bright spot in the air. "We could charge a small entry fee, and all proceeds can go to him." "Yes. That's it," Ethan declared, feeling momentum shift in their favor. "Togetherness is stronger than our differences. Let us celebrate Mr. Thompson and what he means to us." Encouraged murmurs swirled through the gathering, smiles began to bloom as the initial anger faded. Even Beverly looked mildly intrigued, her posture loosening, though she remained reluctant. "What about the details?" a voice called from the back of the crowd. "We need to plan this right." Ethan, capitalizing on this fresh wave of excitement, nodded. "Let us split up into groups. Some can work on the bake sale while others start planning the talent show. We can meet up tomorrow to share our progress." Heads bobbed in agreement, and for the first time in weeks, laughter chimed amongst them. With every chuckle, every bright-eyed suggestion, Ethan felt the earlier weight lift. They were transforming anger into action, frustration into unity. As they began to disperse, smiles replacing the earlier frowns, Ethan felt a surge of hope. Yet just as he thought everything was falling into place, Beverly raised her voice one last time, cutting through the joyous chatter. What if Mr. Thompson doesn't respond to this? We might end up disappointed when this doesn't go according to plan. Her words hung heavy in the air. Ethan's heart sank for a moment. What if she was right? What if they poured their hearts into this, only to find it was not enough? Ethan shook his head, determination setting in. We can't think like that. This isn't just about Mr. Thompson. It's about showing what we can do together, hoping together. And there's no harm in trying. Just then, a little boy's voice piped up, breaking through the weighty silence. I'll help. I'll sell lemonade. Mr. Thompson loves lemonade. At that moment, smiles erupted once more as the tension shattered. Ethan glanced at the boy's bright face and felt an unexpected spark of inspiration. Could it truly be that simple? Would this little boy's enthusiasm inspire them all to care? The next day felt like a turning point. He needed to harness this moment, but he had to push further. What if the unity they built didn't just help Mr. Thompson, but transformed them all, making the community stronger than ever? Ethan looked around, heart racing with possibilities as sunlight streamed down, inviting him into new choices. What would tomorrow reveal? Ethan woke up the next morning with a feeling in his chest that felt almost like fluttering wings. He could hear the sounds of the town awakening outside, a dog barking, kids laughing, the faint hum of cars on the road. He couldn't shake the thought of how the meeting had shifted everything. They had all come together because of one shared goal, that flicker of hope for Mr. Thompson. As he made his way to the community center, the sunlight cutting through the trees felt warm and reassuring. He spotted Mrs. Carter hauling boxes of ingredients into the building. Hey, Ethan. She called, glancing back with a wide smile. You're just in time. I've got my apron on and ready to bake. Fantastic. I can't wait to taste that apple pie, he replied, feeling energized by her enthusiasm. Inside, a flurry of activity greeted him. The room was alive with faces he recognized from yesterday, each one buzzing with determination. Lisa was on the phone, coordinating with a local musician for the talent show, while others were gathering supplies for the bake sale. There was a magnetic energy in the air, a newfound purpose that lit up the entire room. Hey, everyone. Ethan called, raising his hands to silence the chatter. He felt the eyes of his neighbors on him, filled with hope and anticipation. Let's take a moment to remember why we're doing this. Mr. Thompson has dedicated his life to this town. We can show him the community spirit is still alive and thriving. A cheer erupted, echoing off the walls. Ethan's heart soared. This was at a real turning point. He noticed how Beverly stood at the back, arms crossed tightly, but her eyes glistened with something unspoken. Maybe she was beginning to see too, he thought. They broke into groups, laughter and chatter weaving through the room. Ethan joined a group planning the talent show. Lisa was bubbling with ideas, and they batted around suggestions: music, poetry, even magic tricks. They could fill the night with laughter and enjoyment, all while raising funds. As they collaborated, whispers of excitement were punctuated with light-hearted banter. They were caught in a rhythm that felt almost magical. Ideas transformed from simple thoughts to tangible plans. A poster was sketched out, vibrant colors splashed across it, each letter sung with joy, bringing the talent show to life on paper. Then, Ethan's gaze caught the little boy who had shouted about the lemonade. Timmy was fiercely scribbling drawings of what he envisioned the lemonade stand would look like. With each blue crayon stroke, he was building a dream. That looks awesome, Timmy. Ethan exclaimed, kneeling beside him. You've got a real talent for this. Timmy beamed, a smile stretching from ear to ear. I want to make the best lemonade ever for Mr. Thompson. He declared, filled with pride. Ethan marveled at how effortlessly this little boy had brought the community back together, igniting the passion they all felt buried under uncertainty. As the day unfolded, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow around them. They wrapped up the preparations, the excitement buzzing like electricity. Just as they finished, Beverly stepped forward, her voice cracking through the optimism. "I'm not completely on board yet, but I want to help too. I can coordinate the bake sale stand." Ethan stood frozen, a mixture of surprise and hope colliding within him. She was ready to be a part of this. It was an act of transformation in its purest form, but doubt still flickered in his mind. What if this wasn't enough? What if Mr. Thompson didn't appreciate their efforts? But deep down, he knew there was power in their unity. "Thank you, Beverly," he finally said, trying to keep his voice steady. "This means more than you can imagine." They shared tentative smiles, a bridge beginning to form across their differences. The sunset painted the sky into shades of hope and promise, leaving Ethan silently wondering what kind of magic such unity could truly weave. As he watched them all come together, he leaned into the possibilities. But as darkness settled, a nagging question pressed at him: was it enough to heal not just one man but a community fractured by fears and doubt? Ethan had hardly settled into his thoughts when a sharp knock at the door broke the stillness of the community center. The sound echoed in the room, jolting everyone from their discussions. Heads turned as the door swung open, revealing Mr. Thompson, his frail figure illuminated by the fading light outside. Gasps filled the room, followed by an instinctive wave of whispers. Ethan felt a rush of emotions, joy flooded through him, mixed with a worry for how the unexpected visit would pan out. Mr. Thompson's face was etched with lines of experience and weariness, yet his eyes still sparkled with a hint of youthful mischief. "What's all this noise about?" Mr. Thompson posed, a playful smile creeping across his lips. His voice trembled slightly, as if it hadn't been used for a while, but it still carried a familiar warmth. Ethan felt the fluttering in his chest renew. This was a moment of courage and connection. "We're planning a talent show and bake sale for you," yelled Lisa, barely containing her excitement. The room erupted in a chorus of affirmations. "What? For me?" Mr. Thompson's voice cracked with disbelief, his eyes darting around the room taking in the smiling faces. "You all shouldn't have gone through so much trouble for an old man like me." The air shifted, and in that moment, Ethan sensed a deeper truth: the community members weren't just doing this for Mr. Thompson, they were healing themselves. But Beverly, stepping forward, shattered the spell. "It's not just for you, Mr. Thompson. It's about reminding ourselves why we cherish our town, and what you mean to us." Her voice rang clear, echoing with a new determination. Mr. Thompson's expression softened, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You have no idea what this means to me," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "You're all so kind." Among the crowd, Timmy's small frame surged forward, clutching his vibrant crayon drawings. "And I'm going to make the best lemonade for you," he declared, his youthful voice bursting with pride. Mr. Thompson knelt slowly, meeting Timmy's eager gaze. "I look forward to tasting it, young man. You've got a wonderful heart." The two connected in that brief moment, bridging a generational gap with the simplicity of a smile. As the warm glow of camaraderie enveloped them all, the initial nervousness waned, replaced by a collective sense of purpose. The room pulsed with renewed energy, as even the elders began to share stories and ideas. Old songs, forgotten recipes, and tales of town history began pouring out like a long-closed book being opened for the first time. Yet, just as Ethan felt a sense of peace settle in, his thoughts turned darker. What if the talent show wasn't enough? What if the bake sale wasn't enough? Just as unity began to bloom, Ethan was haunted by the uncertainty that had once defined their town. His heart ached with a longing for assurance. The flickering overhead lights caught his eye. Light and shadow danced, symbolizing the fine line they walked between hope and doubt. He could feel the momentum building, yet uncertainty curled around him like smoke. But before he could voice his fears, Mrs. Carter approached with fresh enthusiasm. "What do you say we start with a quick practice for the talent show? Nothing like a little music to bring everyone together." Instinctively, they all migrated towards the stage area, eager for the chance to share their talents, to laugh, to bond. Voices began to rise, laughter erupted, and even Beverly joined in, surprising herself with the joy that bubbled inside her. Ethan joined in, but the weight of worry still loomed in his mind. He caught Mr. Thompson's eye, and they shared an unspoken question: could they truly reclaim the heart of their community? Just as he pondered this, the first notes of a guitar rang out, bright and cheerful, cutting through the tension. "This is just the beginning," Ethan whispered to himself, as the strains of melody ignited the room. But as their voices intertwined, growing stronger, a shadow flickered near the doorway. A figure watched from outside a face Ethan recognized all too well. The familiar sight made his heart skip. What did it mean? As the music swelled, confusion and anticipation swirled within him. One thing was certain: there was more ahead, waiting just beyond that door. The music filled the community center like a warm embrace, lifting spirits and weaving connections among the townsfolk. Laughter bubbled, voices mingled, and for a moment, everything felt right. Yet, Ethan's eyes remained fixed on the flickering shadow in the doorway. He stepped back, the world around him fading into a blur. Was it really her? The exhale of disbelief almost felt painful. Clara. He hadn't seen her in months. They had grown apart like two tangled strands of yarn, unable to find their way back into a cohesive pattern. As the upbeat chords from the guitar continued to strum, Ethan hesitated. Would she stay? Would she turn away, just like she had before? The door creaked open wider, and he caught a glimpse of her expression. In that moment, he felt the weight of all their unspoken words. Ethan's heart pounded like the beat of the music. Taking a deep breath, he approached the door, each step filled with trepidation and hope. Clara looked different. She wore a soft smile, but the shadows under her eyes told tales of burden and loss. "Clara," he finally managed, his voice barely a whisper over the raucous energy in the room. She turned, her gaze locking onto his, an electric moment that pulled them back into a shared history. "Ethan. I came to see." She looked around, absorbing the lively atmosphere. "The talent show?" "Yeah, we're trying to pull the community together, something for Mr. Thompson." "The bake sale too," he stammered, feeling history echo between them. "It sounds wonderful," she replied, her eyes sparkling, igniting something inside him. But as quickly as the warmth appeared, a flicker of doubt clouded her smile. Before he could ask what was on her mind, a voice erupted nearby, pulling attention. Timmy was on stage, showcasing his drawings, explaining how each vibrant crayon stroke was meant to celebrate community and life. Laughter erupted again, and Clara's eyes softened, the heaviness lifting just a little. "See? We're coming together," Ethan said, glancing sideways at her. "Things change, Clara. We can be part of the change." She hesitated, a storm of thoughts swirled behind her eyes. But what if it's not enough? What if it doesn't work? The undercurrent of her fear resonated in him. He could feel his own doubts echoing her words. But the warmth radiating from the crowd, the shimmer of hope emanating from shared memories, drowned out his uncertainty, if only momentarily. "Sometimes it takes just a few brave steps to bring everyone back," he replied, his voice gaining strength. "Just like this. Just like us." Suddenly, Mr. Thompson stepped beside them, his unassuming presence holding a certain gravity. "Every little effort counts. Just look at tonight. It's not perfect, but it's a start," he said, placing a gentle hand on Clara's shoulder. It was a revelation, the tiniest flicker of optimism ignited deep within. "You're right," she admitted, breath hitching slightly. "But change is scary." Her honesty struck a chord in him, reminding him of the fragility of their ties. Just then, the music swelled again, reminding them of why they were here, drowning out uncertainties. Together, he reassured her, a spark of determination igniting in his chest. We can make it work. But, before they could fully embrace that idea, a sharp gasp broke through the evening's harmony, pulling everyone's gaze back toward the door. What now? Ethan thought, his stomach twisting as he turned to face the commotion. Just outside, a faint cry rose above the crowd, causing the light-hearted mood to dip into something darker. What now loomed ahead? Only time would tell. Ethan stood frozen, a chill creeping down his spine as the crowd turned toward the door. Clara's expression shifted, worry etching itself across her features. The vibrant notes of the guitar faltered, replaced by whispers and gasps filling the air like thick fog. Timmy's laughter gave way to confusion, his drawings forgotten as he glanced nervously around. The once celebratory evening held its breath, the atmosphere thick with unease. Ethan took a cautious step toward the doorway, curiosity mingling with anxiety. What had happened? The murmur of the crowd swirled around him, but he fixed his gaze on the source of the commotion. A small figure outlined against the dim light began to materialize, and with it, the sound of muffled sobs grew clearer. "Mommy! Help!" The cry echoed, piercing the silence like a knife. His heart dropped as he recognized the voice. It was Noah, the 8-year-old boy who lived down the street. He was a scrappy little kid with tousled hair and a spirit that seemed unbreakable until now. As he stumbled into the center, tears streaking his dirt-smudged face, every conversation halted. "What's wrong, buddy?" Ethan knelt, leveling his eyes with Noah's. Disbelief turned to concern as he noticed the trembling in the boy's small frame. Noah choked on his words, trying to catch his breath. "There's my dog. He's hurt. Please." Gasps rippled through the crowd like a wave. Clara instinctively stepped closer, her protective nature kicking in. The music had vanished altogether, replaced by a collective urgency pulsing through the group. "Where is he?" Ethan pressed, his stomach twisting into knots. "By the park." "I don't know what to do," Noah wailed, his eyes wide with panic. "I'll go with you," Ethan promised, rising to his feet, determination anchoring him. The crowd shifted, some people murmuring their agreement, others hastening to grab their coats. The evening had shifted from laughter to a night filled with responsibility and a fight against fear. "Clara." Ethan turned to her, the decision weighing heavy and important. "Can you help me find some people who can drive us? We might need an extra car." She nodded, her worry quickly morphing into action. "I'll get the others. We'll be right behind you." Bolstered by her presence, Ethan reached for Noah's hand. "Come on, buddy. Show me where you saw him." As they rushed past the doorway, he felt the tension behind them. Every person in the center was pulling together, molding their energy into an unwavering force. Noah led the way, his small hand gripping Ethan's tightly as they weaved through the streets. The stars sparkled above, but a storm brewed in Ethan's heart. The park loomed ahead, dark and silent, the perfect shroud for something gone wrong. "Just tell me what happened," Ethan said, keeping his voice steady. "Every step together, we'll find your dog." Noah sniffed, his tiny body shaking with worry. "He was chasing a squirrel, and then he ran into the street." I didn't think." The boy's guilt cut deep, and Ethan knew there wasn't time for blame. All he could offer was assurance. "Hey, it's okay. We'll get him back. Promise." As they reached the park, the silent darkness waited, the shadows playing tricks with their eyes. Ethan took a deep breath, steeling himself for whatever lay ahead. Just then, a soft whimper broke through the still air, grasping at his heart. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his chest tightening with hope. Noah nodded, eyes wide in anticipation. Together, they stepped deeper into the shadows, the echo of their breaths mingling with the urgent cry for help that had brought them here. But as they ventured further, a more significant realization dawned on Ethan. something he hadn't anticipated was about to change everything. What were they about to discover in the heart of the darkness? As they entered the park, the chilling air wrapped around Ethan and Noah, thick with the scent of damp earth and distant rustling leaves. Each step felt heavier than the last, with uncertainty weighing down on Ethan's shoulders. The soft whimper floated through the stillness, pulling them closer, like a beam of light beckoning them through a darkened tunnel. Over there. Noah pointed with urgency, his voice barely rising above a whisper. Ethan squinted into the darkness, trying to discern anything amid the shadows. Just beyond a cluster of bushes, he could make out a shape curled up tight. "Stay close," Ethan instructed, his voice resolute. Together, they approached cautiously, fear and hope intertwining in equal measure. As they neared, the shape transformed into a small bundle of fur, twitching and whimpering softly. Ethan's heart raced, pumping adrenaline through his veins. "It's okay, buddy, we're here," he murmured. Noah knelt beside Ethan, his small body trembling as he whispered, "Is it Rex?" Ethan didn't answer. Instead, he gently placed a hand on the scared dog, feeling the warmth of Rex's fur beneath his palm. The pup lifted its head slowly, its eyes filled with pain and fear. Ethan could see the blood matting its coat, the sight twisted in his chest like a dagger. "What happened?" Noah gasped, tears blurring his vision. The reality hit him hard as the guilt flooded back. "I should have watched him better." "Listen, Noah." Ethan's tone was calm, yet firm. "It was an accident. We'll make this right. We just need to get Rex some help." Noah leaned closer, his fingers brushing the dog's ear. Rex whimpered again, leaning into the touch, desperately seeking comfort amid the chaos. The bond between the boy and his dog resonated with unspoken love, tightening the knot in Ethan's heart. "Can you carry him?" Noah asked, a glimmer of hope flickering in his eyes. Ethan nodded, he'd do whatever it took. He positioned himself cautiously, scooping Rex into his arms. The dog winced but quickly settled against him, a warm weight that felt as fragile as a feather. "Let us get him to the car," Ethan said, glancing up at Noah. "We'll be there soon." As they hurried back through the park, the rhythmic sound of their footsteps filled the spaces left by the stillness. Noah walked closely beside him, his small face etched with determination. The urgency of their situation pulsed in Ethan's veins, pushing them forward. Suddenly, distant headlights cut through the dark, illuminating the area ahead. Clara and a few others had arrived, their faces illuminated with concern. "Ethan!" "Noah!" Clara called out, sprinting towards them. Noah waved a watery hand, relief flooding his features. "Rex is hurt," he shouted, tears spilling onto his cheeks. "We need to hurry." As they met Clara, the concern in her eyes was palpable, but the determination daggered through it. "What happened?" she asked, quickly assessing the situation. "There was an accident by the street," Ethan explained, his heart racing. "We need to get him to the vet. Fast." Clara nodded, her demeanor shifting. "I'll drive. Everyone else, follow us." In that moment, a sense of unity enveloped them. Everyone rallied together, pulling together their momentary fears. They understood this wasn't just about a dog, it was about a boy learning how to face his worries and a community coming together to help. As they rushed to the car, Ethan felt a surge of hope rise within him. The stars flickered above like promises waiting to be fulfilled. They were doing this together, and together they would be unstoppable. But as they piled into the car, the uncertainty of whether they'd reach the vet in time settled in the pit of his stomach. The night was far from over, and Ethan knew the hardest part was still ahead. Would they make it to Rex in time? The engine roared to life as Clara pressed the gas pedal, the car lurching forward. Ethan held Rex tightly, feeling the pup's fragile body against his chest. The tension in the air felt almost electric, each breath a reminder of what was at stake. Noah glanced over, his eyes wide and pleading. "Is Rex going to be okay?" he asked, his voice trembling with hope and dread. Ethan swallowed hard, meeting Noah's gaze. "We're going to do everything we can. Just hold on to that hope, okay?" The streetlights raced by, casting fleeting shadows across their faces as the city glimmered under the night sky. Clara focused on the road, determination etched into her features. The others in the car murmured amongst themselves, supportive, sharing stories of their own pets and experiences that hinted at the fragility of life. Noah kept looking at Rex, whose breathing was shallow, almost imperceptible. "I'm so sorry, buddy," he whispered, brushing back the fur from Rex's eyes. The dog whined softly, nudging against Noah's comforting fingers. The atmosphere shifted as they approached the vet clinic, lights shining bright against the cold, dark night. Clara pulled into the lot, parking crookedly. The rush of adrenaline quickened Ethan's heart rate. They jumped out of the car in unison, Noah still clutching Rex's collar, their small party moving as one cohesive unit. "Get help!" Ethan shouted to the waiting receptionist, who leapt into action, her eyes widening as she noticed the urgency painted on their faces. "Right this way," she directed, gesturing towards the back. Clara followed closely behind, carrying the weight of their collective worry. Noah remained beside Ethan, his small hand clutching Rex's collar. "Stay with him, Noah," Ethan said softly as they transitioned through the door. "You're his real hero." Inside, the sterile environment felt surreal, the antiseptic smell mixing with the palpable anxiety. Time lost meaning as they waited, each second stretching unbearably. The buzzing fluorescent lights hummed above them, a monotonous reminder they were all in limbo. "What if they can't fix him?" Noah said, his voice quivering. Tears brimmed in his eyes. Ethan knelt down beside him, wanting to shield Noah from every harsh reality. "They will. They have to," he said, his voice a thin thread of certainty in the storm of fear. "Rex loves you. That's enough to fight for. Just tell me he'll be okay," Noah pleaded, his voice cracking. Ethan inhaled deeply, trying to quell his own doubts. "No matter what happens, Noah, what you have with him won't ever change. Love doesn't just go away. It stays forever, no matter the outcome." Silence enveloped them, heavy with unspoken thoughts and fears. Minutes felt like hours until finally, a doctor walked through the door. She wore a stern expression that immediately heightened the tension in the room. "Is Rex going to be okay?" Noah blurted, desperation gripping his heart. The doctor paused, her gaze piercing through the uncertainty. "We'll need to take him for evaluation. My team will do everything we can," but her voice trailed off, leaving a chasm of anxiety widening between them. "But what?" Ethan's voice was strong, but uncertainty brewed just beneath the surface. "We'll need you to wait here. We'll update you soon," she said, her tone softening slightly. Ethan and Noah exchanged glances, a mix of fear and hope swirling in their eyes. As the door closed behind the doctor, Ethan placed a reassuring hand on Noah's shoulder. "We're in this together. We'll wait together. Whatever comes next, we'll face it." But as they settled into the waiting room, the clock ticking ominously on the wall, neither of them could shake the sense that their lives were about to change forever. What would the doctor reveal when she returned? Would they be facing a new reality, or was there still a glimmer of hope on the horizon? Ethan sat in the sterile waiting room, the chair hard and uncomfortable, but all he felt was the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. Noah was beside him, tiny hands twisting nervously in his lap as they awaited the doctor's next words. Each tick of the clock seemed to pound louder than the last, a constant reminder of their waiting. "Ethan," Noah whispered, tears brimming in his eyes. What if he doesn't make it?" Ethan's heart sank, the thought piercing through him like ice. "Noah, Rex is a fighter. You've seen him chase squirrels, he's always ready for an adventure," he replied, trying to inject a spark of hope into the air. But internally, doubt gnawed at him, and he wondered if his words were enough. Minutes dragged on, and finally, the doctor stepped back through the door, a calm demeanor that pushed away some of the tension. "Rex is stable, and he's responding to treatment," she said, her voice steady yet gentle. "He suffered some injuries, but with time and care, we believe he'll recover." Relief washed over Ethan like a wave. He reached for Noah, pulling him into a tight embrace. "See? He's going to be okay." Noah's sobs broke free, an avalanche of emotion that couldn't be contained. Joy mixed with the lingering fear, the most powerful weight lifted from their hearts. The doctor continued, her tone taking on a more serious edge. "He'll need follow-up care, and I encourage you both to be involved in his recovery. The love you show, Noah, will mean so much to him." A new sense of purpose ignited within Ethan. "We can do that," he assured, looking at Noah who nodded eagerly, tears still sparkling. They spoke to the doctor about every detail, ready to be the best pet parents they could, driven by the realization that together, they could change Rex's fate, just like the community had united for Mr. Thompson. Later that evening, as they left the clinic with Rex safely resting in a cozy crate, a rush of gratitude filled Ethan's heart. They had weathered the shadows, and now, like the dawn breaking over the horizon, light flooded their spirits. Just then, a cheer erupted from inside the community center down the street. The noise swelled outside the doors, a celebration of hope echoing into the world. "Let us go, Noah. They're waiting for us," Ethan exclaimed, grasping his friend's shoulder as they hurried back. They burst through the doors, the energy flowing like a river. Clara stood at the front, laughter and voices overjoyed, rolling like thunder. "We were just talking about Rex. We were worried." "Noah, tell them," Ethan urged, feeling the rush to share their joy. "Rex is okay. He's at the vet. He's going to be fine," Noah shouted, his voice cracking with excitement amidst the laughter. A wave of cheers and clapping filled the room. It was more than a relief, it felt like the community had revived, just like Rex would. Then suddenly, the crowd quieted, and Ethan noticed Mr. Thompson standing at the front, a weary smile breaking through his gaunt features. "You've all rallied together in a moment of need just as we should in every moment. This is what community feels like." The room erupted again, and Ethan felt a swell of pride. They had come together over Mr. Thompson, and now, that spirit of unity had bridged the gap among them all. As the night continued, they discussed their plans: bake sales, talent shows, a community event to raise funds not just for Mr. Thompson's medical bills but for the local shelter, too, ensuring no pet went without love or care again. Clara pulled Ethan aside, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't believe we could change things that night when Mr. Thompson fell, but look at us now. We're doing it," she said, her eyes glimmering. Ethan nodded, feeling the stirring of hope. "It's about how we stand for each other, right?" And in that moment, amidst laughter and the energy of a community once fractured, but now unified, Ethan realized they had forged a bond one stronger than any disagreement or hesitation. The road ahead would be paved with challenges, but together they would rise, armed with compassion and resilience. In the coming weeks, day by day, they poured their hearts into Rex's healing and planned their events. Each interaction became a reminder of the community's strength. They cooked alongside each other, shared stories of courage and uplifted one another, weaving a tapestry of support that could never unravel. Eventually, they gathered for the talent show, a culmination of purpose, joy, and belonging. Each act was a testament to what they had built together. Families poured into the community center, laughter ringing out like music. The energy surged, uniting them in hope. Even Beverly stood at the front, this time cheering alongside Mr. Thompson and all the neighbors. Her previous doubts had melted away, replaced by pride in being part of something larger than themselves. Ethan stood backstage, nerves dancing in his stomach. "You ready?" Clara asked, eyes shining brightly. "Always," he replied, determination fueling his spirit. Together, they stepped onto the stage, hearts swelling with possibilities, knowing the heart of their community beat stronger than ever before. They had faced darkness and emerged into the light, each of them shining brighter for it. And as the curtain lifted, Ethan realized this was just the beginning. He stepped forward, microphone in hand, ready to lead his friends and neighbors into a bright new chapter filled with hope, love, and untold adventures. This was their moment, a lesson that they could face anything together. Ethan grinned, embracing what was next. He finally understood that when it came to family, community, and love, nothing was impossible. Together, they would stand tall. You need to subscribe now to our channel. This is the moment to show your support and not miss out on our next thrilling stories that warm your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know you enjoyed this journey. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending, and don't hesitate to share your own stories of community alongside ours. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Let us spread this message of togetherness far and wide. Only true fans understand how vital your support is.